What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Star Bazaar. This video is a follow-up to the last tips and tricks video I did about the lightsaber hero's strengths and weaknesses, which received extremely well, by the way. I really appreciate all the support on that video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll have it linked below, and it should be popping up in a card in the top right corner right now. But in that video, I asked you guys if you would be interested in seeing the strengths and weaknesses of the light side blaster heroes, and the response was a resounding yes, so we're doing that today. After this, we'll be looking at the lightsaber heroes on the dark side, so if you want to keep up with the rest of this series, be sure you're subscribed and you're getting notified so you know when those videos come out. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you find the tips helpful. But without wasting any more time, let's just jump into it and check out the first blaster hero on the light side, Princess Leia. I think most players would universally agree that Leia needs a buff, and if I'm not mistaken, she is due for one here pretty soon. But that doesn't mean she's useless, far from it, and if played to her strengths, she can actually be one of the best heroes on the light side. She deals moderate damage, but she can stack it on very quickly with consistent headshots from her Defender pistol and her middle ability. This leads into her strength, though, of being effective at all ranges. Up close and at mid-range, she has the pistol and the E11, and at longer ranges, she has the pistol's alternative fire, which not only deals high damage, but also tracks its targets after a certain distance. This makes her highly effective on maps like Geonosis, Crate, and Hoth, where there's big, wide open spaces for her to really target enemies from afar. She's also highly defensive, with a very good team support ability in the squad shield, and the fact that she has the best health recovery out of any blaster hero in the game, except perhaps Bosk, but that's kind of an exception. Her base health recovery is 250, but with a star card that can go up to 350, letting her essentially recover 50% of her total health at any time, which is crazy for a blaster hero. All of this makes her one of the better team support heroes in the game, and that really is where she shines, when she has a couple of people backing her up. But this leads into her first weakness, and that's the fact that she's very bad at escape when she gets cornered by either a lightsaber hero or a lot of troopers. If she does manage to escape, her high health recovery can actually see her through to the other side, and that's great, but if she can't escape, she's basically screwed. Her abilities are just too circumstantial to effectively save her, and her only offensive weapons are her Defender pistol and the E11. Both are pretty reliable, but if she sees too much pressure, or if there's just too much damage coming in at her at once, she's gonna have a hard time. So in summary, Leia's strengths are that she's effective at all ranges, she's highly defensive, and she's very good team support. But her weaknesses are that she's bad at escape, she only has her blasters for damage, and she has very circumstantial abilities. She can be played aggressively to great success, but you just gotta be careful. Han Solo is next, and he is the definition of aggressive but not careful. Everything in Han Solo's arsenal is designed to dish out as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. He's basically the Anakin of the blasters, minus the high health. He exemplifies the role of the glass cannon. Han Solo's strengths are this high damage output, and also the fact that he can be effective at almost any range, because his DL-44 pistol can blast enemies up close, and he can also snipe with it from a distance. It has almost no damage drop-off, so consecutive headshots will get you a lot of kills. His middle ability, Sharpshooter, is there to melt enemy heroes, and both Detonite Charge and Shoulder Charge have high damage, plus decent crowd control with the knockdown effect. This makes him a decent escape artist without a stun ability, which I really admire about Han. But, of course, if he gets caught up in lightsaber attacks or just sees too much damage coming in at him, his low health is his biggest weakness. He will get melted and he will die very quickly. So Han's strengths are his high damage and the fact he's effective from all ranges, but his weakness is his low health. Moving on to his best buddy Chewie, we have the tank of the blaster heroes on the light side. Notice how all the heroes in Battlefront 2 fulfill a certain role. Chewie's the tank, Han Solo's the glass cannon, and Leia's a more average defensive hero. Chewbacca, though, is all about his very high damage output and his crowd control. Both his shock grenade and his charge slam will nicely set his enemies up and get them ready for him to shoot them with Furious Bowcaster. All of his abilities very nicely chain together, and with the right star card setup, he can have a very high health pool, and as of recently, he got a regular health on kill star card, letting him live a lot longer than he could before. His high damage output and good health makes him a prime hero for holding down choke points, and his abilities are really good enemy hero control as well. If there's some problem villains on the other side, Chewie is a good candidate to go take them out. He isn't without weakness though, and the biggest weakness for Chewie is the fact that he's pretty slow. As a big guy, he does run a little bit slower than everybody else, and it also makes him a bigger target to hit. He also has very poor range. His blaster's drop-off is awful at long ranges. He's definitely more suited for close-range encounters, but Furious Bowcaster can compensate for that drop-off a little bit. Besides being slow and an easy target, Chewie's biggest weakness is the fact that he's very vulnerable out in open spaces. If he doesn't have cover or a building to hide in, he can take a lot of damage very quickly, and he doesn't have the right tools to get out of that situation effectively. Indoors, close quarters is where Chewbacca shines. So, his strengths are that he's tanky with a very high damage output and good health, and also the fact that he's very fun to play, but his weaknesses are that he's slow, an easy target with very poor range, and he's vulnerable without his abilities or cover to protect him. Playing well with Chewbacca comes down to more your location than anything else, I think. If you're in a wide open area, you'll most likely die pretty quickly, but if you're focusing on choke points and close quarters areas, you'll most likely do well. This brings us to Lando Calrissian, and he is the sneaky trickster of the blaster heroes on the light side. His middle ability is the only one that directly causes damage, but his other two have their own unique effects. Everyone knows the Disabler and its stun effect, but the smoke grenade is also very useful too, since it cancels out lightsaber lock-ons and also cancels out turret lock-ons, among other things. He is a master escape artist, and that's one of his biggest strengths, the fact that he can get away with his smoke and the Disabler, and also cause pretty decent damage with the sharp shot. He does have very moderate damage at all ranges. He is not a powerhouse like Han Solo or Chewbacca, but he doesn't really need to be. He's unpredictable, and that's his biggest strength. The sharp shot comes out of nowhere, the stun from the Disabler comes out of nowhere, and if he's quick on the trigger, he can melt a lot of heroes with consistent headshots. His sharp shot ability is also really good at dealing with crowds of infantry. It can even one-shot heavies, so the potential for multi-kills is there. But one of the few things holding Lando back is the fact that he has low health. He does have a star card to compensate for this, but if you're not running it, his survivability is very low. Couple that with the fact that he only has a moderate damage output, and it makes going up against crowds and villains one-on-one even pretty challenging for Lando. So his biggest strengths are the fact that he's unpredictable and a very good escape artist, but his weaknesses are his low health and moderate damage. Before moving on to the last blaster hero on the light side, I want to say thanks to everybody who's made it this far in the video. Your watch time is what pushes the video through YouTube's algorithm, so I really appreciate it. If you're liking the tips so far, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and drop a comment below letting me know which blaster hero is your favorite one to use on the light side. But with that, our last hero for today's video is FN2187, Finn. Unfortunately, Finn finds himself at the very bottom of most players' ranking lists simply because he historically has not been that good. He was incredible when he first got released, took a huge nerf, and then saw very little use because people simply thought he wasn't very good. His low health pool, plus the fact that his trump card ability, Big Deal, stopped him from running, it made him a very easy target for both infantry and heroes, and he died very quickly. He also did not have a health on kill for the longest time, which meant he couldn't heal himself, but all of that has changed as of the last update. Finn is pretty damn good now, and his biggest strength is something that has actually been his strength since the very beginning, and that's the fact that he can always shoot. He is never without a weapon to protect himself with. If his main blaster goes on to cooldown, he can pop up Big Deal and get unlimited shots for a little while there, or he can pop up his Glee 44 blaster pistol instead and shoot using that. Once either one of those run out, he can either pop up Deadeye or go straight back to his regular blaster again. He can literally always be shooting. He's never without a weapon, which makes sense to his character since he's a former soldier of the First Order. He's trained in weapons. Besides this, he's also the best team support hero in the game, with 2 abilities that support his team in both Big Deal and Undercover Team. Big Deal also gives him potential for tankiness, letting him tank attacks much like Chewbacca can. It's pretty crazy. And with the right star card, you can actually have Big Deal active for as long as you want, as long as you're getting consistent headshots, which makes Finn very dangerous. Despite all of this, his low health pool makes him an easy target and quick to die. He's not the kind of hero that can go out and take care of things solo. He needs his team to back him up. He's also not very good at escaping because his skill set is mostly in offense. Big Deal does give him that damage reduction, and yes, Undercover Team makes him run faster, but neither of those really help him out too much when he's caught out in the open without covering fire. He's very vulnerable in that situation. So, Finn's strengths are the fact that he always has the ability to shoot something, he has potential for tankiness with Big Deal, and he is fantastic team support. But his weaknesses are that he's very bad at escaping, and he has a very low health pool. And those are the strengths and weaknesses of the light side blaster heroes. Let me know down in a comment what you thought about these tips. Did you find them helpful? If so, I'd appreciate that thumbs up on the video, and also consider subscribing if you haven't already. We'll be covering the lightsaber villain strengths and weaknesses next, so be sure you stay tuned for that. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. I appreciate you stopping by the bazaar. I'll see you all out on the battlefront. Peace.